everyone, and welcome to the Voice of Pancreatic Cancer podcast. I'm your host, Miranda Weinberg with the Seena Magowitz Foundation. If you don't know about the Seena Magowitz Foundation, we are a nonprofit that's committed to the awareness, prevention, and cure of pancreatic cancer. And I'm really excited today to introduce our guest. We have Ron Brefka, who's a warrior and also a racer, and he's going to tell us how the two of those went together. Ron, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and say where you're from?
All right. My name's Ron Brefka. I'm a pancreatic cancer survivor from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So Milwaukee is also the home of Harley Davidson. And I kind of call Milwaukee the center of motorcycledom here on earth. So I've always had a lifelong passion, motorcycles. And after my diagnosis, I started the high voltage motorcycle show to raise awareness for pancreatic cancer research and to help with donations for Dr. Evans We Care Fund. And then it slowly kind of grew into this big high voltage motorcycle show and races. I had 4 surgeries so far. The most recent one was in December. I had a complete pancreatectomy, and I always say probably Dr. Evans and his staff will cringe a little bit, but just 10 weeks after I had that surgery, I raced in the national championship and got a podium win. I got a second place.
So incredible. So incredible. Well, congratulations on that.
Thanks for having me too. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, we're super excited. I think we should just, start from the beginning. Let's start from, your diagnosis. Okay.
I think I was diagnosed in the fall of 2015 and early 20. I went through the chemo, the radiation, the initial surgery, which I think was a distal, partial pancreatectomy. I'm not a doctor, but so that was in 2016, and then in 2020, it kind of came back, spread to my liver. So I had to have liver cancer surgery. And then late 2021, something started appearing again. And, I have to say Dr. Evans is my doctor. Dr. Evans and the whole We Care team at the Medical College of Wisconsin is just outstanding. I mean, they're just great. And so I owe all my health and accomplishments since my diagnosis to Dr. Evans and all the caregivers and his fantastic team.
That's incredible. So 2015. So then that makes you.
I think I'm a 6-year survivor now.
Yeah.
I try not to count.
Really?
But, I think a 6-year survivor.
Well, you passed the 5-year mark. I mean, that's a pretty amazing accomplishment.
Thank you. Yeah, glad to be here. Glad to be still here and kind of helping with the awareness and everything. And so I'd also like to say a thank you to Roger Magowitz. We were down there in Phoenix earlier this year and everything. And Roger's like a superstar in this whole pancreatic cancer research and treatment thing. I think he kind of single-handedly started all the interventions and everything, whatever it was 20 years ago or whatever. So
yeah, 20 years this year.
Big hats off to Roger and the Seena Magowitz Foundation for everything they've done over those years. I think I'm here because of all the work Roger's done, the awareness and all the funds he's raised for research and everything.
Well, we're big advocates of as you know,
Yep.
All of our dollars go to research because that's the way we're going to beat this thing. Let's talk about, how did you find Dr. Evans? I mean, how did that connection come about?
Got pancreatitis again, and they looked into it closer, pancreatic cancer. And then I don't really recall. Next thing I know, Dr. Evans was taking care of me. And I had surgery. I do remember after my first surgery being in the hospital bed And all these nurses were coming in and going, "How did you get Dr. Evans to accept you as a patient?" I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And then after the fourth or fifth one, I said, "Wait, why does everybody keep asking me that?" And they're like, "Well, don't you know he's a world-renowned pancreatic cancer surgeon and researcher?" I'm like, "No, nobody told me that. I didn't know." So thank God,
Well, you went to the right
in,
place for your second
yes,
opinion.
my survival, my health, all the things I do is a testament to Dr. Evans' skill and his entire team. Everybody's just so wonderful.
Well, tell me about when you decided to combine your passion for racing with your passion for finding a cure.
That kind of that's an interesting story. I was standing on a street corner in front of a local tavern in Milwaukee. There's a lot of taverns in Milwaukee. This was Frank's Power Plant, and Frank is a motorcycle enthusiast. Milwaukee. He grew up, born and raised in Milwaukee, as I was. And he's got motorcycles, hanging from the ceiling in his tavern and stuff. And I was standing on the street corner, and the alderman came walking up, and I'm like, wow. Here Frank is here, the alderman's here. These are the two people we need to put a benefit motorcycle show together on the street in front of Frank's. And they're like, yeah, we're here to support you, whatever you want. It's a fantastic idea. By the second year, it grew so big, it outgrew Frank's Power Plant Tavern in Milwaukee, and we had to move to Humboldt Park, which is a 5,000 seat amphitheater nearby in Milwaukee. So luckily, the Parks Department let us display about 200 motorcycles that first time we were at Humboldt Park. And then we had thousands of people come by, and it's just been growing since then. So kind of nationally known amongst custom motorcycle builders and enthusiasts, Harley Davidson enthusiasts as well. So, and then putting the two passions together, having pancreatic cancer is obviously very traumatic, emotionally and physically. And, if you don't keep your mind active, at least I believe, if you don't keep your mind active with something, you can spiral down into depression or worry and everything. So I just always thought, it's a good idea. Take one of your passions, and I tell people it doesn't have to be motorcycles. It could be anything. It could be your grandkids, could be your kids, whatever your hobby is, and just concentrate. So I've been lucky in that it's grown with the help of friends in Milwaukee and throughout the country, really from coast to coast. Everyone has been helping. So it's really trying to stay in a good place by concentrating on, your personal interests and helping also. So I'm a helper. I like helping. So the awareness portion, and then, the donations and stuff, that's the helping part of it. So.
And then also you happen to be really talented at it too, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just lucky. I think it's the passion behind both. I'm a survivor, so I want to help with that. And then, my passion for motorcycles. Well,
tell me about your upcoming race.
Oh, the high voltage half mile in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. So just a few minutes down the highway from Milwaukee is the Walworth County Fairgrounds. It's a half mile track. It's a rare cushion track.
So can people tune in, or how do we stay?
Oh yeah, we're doing a Facebook Live. So through several different outlets. So of course we'll be doing a Facebook Live, and this will be Sunday, June 5th. Races start at noon.
We'll be sure to be cheering you on that day. Definitely
excited about it. It's pretty cool.
Well, do you have any advice for someone that maybe is just at the beginning of their journey? Maybe they just got their second opinion or initial diagnosis, and they can't even imagine being where you are. Being able to advocate.
It's not easy, but hang in there. Try to concentrate on positive things. Loved ones in your family, the things you love to do. Concentrate and always keep your mind in a positive spot, and trust. There's a lot of great caregivers out there and physician teams that can handle this, and it's not easy, but you can get through it. I'm a 6-year survivor. You just have to keep hope alive. So I always say, it's okay when you're going through all the chemo and radiation and all that. Sometimes it's okay to just do nothing more than just breathe. But always remember that the sun will rise tomorrow. Hope that sunrise might bring.
That's so good.
Especially with the Seena Magowitz Foundation supporting all the research.
Well, speaking of the Seena Magowitz Foundation, why do you think it's important that people support foundations like the Seena Magowitz Foundation? I mean, you got to experience an event this year, being surrounded by, over 30 warriors.
I always say, it's all about hope. And in this case, it's hope through research. So, if you don't know Roger's story, when he started 20 years ago, they really didn't do anything for pancreatic cancer patients. If you donate to the Seena Magowitz Foundation, you're really providing hope through research.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, and we're excited to see the results of the race on June 5th.
I'm going to get out there and race too, so
yeah.
I don't know if I'll win this time, but I'll certainly try.
We'll be cheering you on. We'll be cheering you on for sure.
Tune in June 5th.
Yeah, we will. Well, thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Evans.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, Miranda. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for making time for this. I know.
Oh, sure.
I interviewed Ron earlier, so I wanted
great.
Yeah, he has an incredible story. So we wanted to get your perspective on his case, from a medical perspective.
Well, thank you, Miranda. It's great to talk with you and to support the Seena Magowitz Foundation. And I know everyone probably appreciates this, but the Seena Magowitz Foundation is doing so much to support pancreatic cancer awareness and, importantly, pancreatic cancer research, because the way we have oftentimes phrased it here in the Medical College of Wisconsin and the Laban Pancreatic Cancer Program is we have an obligation to the patient of today. And the patient of today that we're going to talk about is Ron Brefka. And we also have an obligation to the patient of tomorrow. And the Seena Magowitz Foundation represents the advocacy for the patient of tomorrow by their support of research, innovation, discovery, everything that will allow us to have better treatments for the patient of tomorrow. To get to your real question, which was one of my patients who I would say now, every doctor thinks a lot about every patient they have, especially surgeons, because we obviously spend time with people when they're most vulnerable, when they're asleep, anesthetized. And
Right.
we put a tremendous amount of thought and time and effort into all of the decision making that goes into surgery. Because pancreatic cancer treatment is a bit of a marathon now, oftentimes using chemotherapy, sometimes targeted therapy, radiation, and surgery, we get to know our patients so well that it's impossible not to develop friendships along the way. And I don't know how many years I've known Ron. I can't remember when his first operation was. He may have told you in your interview.
I believe it was 2016, he said.
Yeah. Wow. But he's an amazing individual, and I think one of the many great things about Ron is the ability with which he handles adversity. And right now at this time in our world and our culture, there's a tremendous emphasis on work-life balance, and you hear about this work-life balance wellness. You hear about it on TV and in social media. You hear about it everywhere. Well, when pancreas cancer affects someone, it doesn't really pay attention to work-life balance, and it's so hard. Patients have to integrate this very difficult diagnosis into how they manage their day. And I think Ron, it would be great to have Ron talk about how he initially dealt with the diagnosis, how he dealt with the challenge of managing his treatments, because he became, if you will, an all-star, a professional. The advice that he could give is probably invaluable, because Ron was able to navigate this very difficult arena of integrating a sudden, unexpected, poorly timed diagnosis into his life, and he did it with just incredible courage and resilience, just amazing. And he almost, maybe I'm putting words into his mouth, but it would appear that he almost found strength in the diagnosis, and he became a stronger and more powerful individual. Certainly his advocacy for pancreatic cancer awareness and his support of pancreatic cancer research through the motorcycle community of the greater Midwest and certainly Wisconsin has been amazing. Before the pandemic, I would go to one of his rallies in South Milwaukee every year.
Wow.
And I probably was not appropriately dressed for a motorcycle rally, but I can tell you this summer I'm going to absolutely do my best with my attire. But I'll definitely be there, and it's just a real privilege and an honor to support Ron, and I can't tell you how much his friendship means to all of us here at MCW and the Levon Pancreatic Cancer Program.
Well, he did let us in on a little secret of yours that you might not be so unfamiliar with the motorcycle scene.
Oh, I did have a motorcycle for 1 year in college. I was shipped overseas for a year of college. They had enough of me in the United States, and so I went to Swansea, Wales, which is in the southern part of Wales in the United Kingdom. It's right on the ocean. It's just absolutely spectacular.
Wow, beautiful.
And when I showed up there, I realized that the dormitory I was assigned was 2 miles from the main campus. So I said, well, how am I going to get to school then? So a couple of the other transfer students, along with myself, we all got motorcycles, and we managed to survive the year without a motorcycle crash, and it was really a great time.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, one interesting thing about Ron's case is that he shared with us that he came to know you through a second opinion. So I know that we are always stressing the importance of that. Maybe you could quickly touch on that before we wrap up.
I think it's always great to get as many minds and eyes on a problem as possible. And I think at the level of academic medical centers, there are second opinions going on all the time. They go on, if you will, informally, where on any given week, I probably ask some people around the country what they would do with a certain patient or a certain problem, and they may ask my opinion as well. In my own cancer center clinic, I've had a complimentary second opinion service going for probably now 15 to 20 years, and it's run by Gabriella Piptuck, who's one of my nurse practitioners, who's really fantastic, and Gabby and Natalie.
Love her.
Oh, absolutely. They coordinate the information, and we communicate with the referring doctors and the patients. But having as many eyes and minds on the problem is always good. And I think probably the most important thing is that every patient feels comfortable with the medical advice they are receiving. It may not always be good news, but hopefully people can separate the news itself from whether or not they feel comfortable that the person delivering the news provides the confidence that every patient should have in their physicians. So I think when there's any question, or if someone receives news that's worse than they thought would be the case, and they just would like someone else to weigh in on it, it's always a good idea. I would alert all of our patients who may see this video that many times you can request a second opinion through your oncologist or through your surgeon or through your radiation oncologist, and say, I know that you have relationships with doctors around the country. Is there someone that you could discuss my situation with, and simply provide me a second opinion without needing to travel to another city or get on an airplane, et cetera. And I wouldn't underestimate the ease with which that is often done. And lastly, I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, but
No.
but most all larger programs have a multidisciplinary conference every week. And here, for example, we meet every Friday morning at 6:30 in the morning, and we get together for an hour and a half, and we go over our clinical trials for 30 minutes, and then we go over new patients and complicated patients from 7 to 8 every Friday morning. And we usually discuss usually 8 to 10 patients in that hour. And there is usually 1 or 2 critically important points of information with each of the patients, and we go through that as a team. So in essence, a patient is receiving an opinion from probably 8 to 10 doctors.
Wow.
Rather than just the one doctor they're seeing. So that's critically important as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for your time. We know you're a very busy man, and you have squeezed some time in for us. So I don't want to take too much longer, but we just want to say we appreciate you, everything that you do for the fight for pancreatic cancer awareness and the eventual cure.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Miranda. And, a huge shout out to my good friend, Ron Brefka, who is just personifies strength and courage. So thanks so much.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.